book lovers, book lovers. Raising. Hello friends, and welcome back to another book video here on my channel. This is a book haul, and I want to call it a birthday book haul. This video is going live either on my birthday or a day after my birthday, and these decorations behind me are not here because of me. They're actually here because of Toby, who is my baby boy, my dog, and he turned 7 yesterday. So we're both little lions here. He's of course a July lion, and I am an August lion, and we're sitting right here on his bed today, which is the couch really. But we are going to hang out here and chat some books. I'm going to go in order of perhaps when I purchased these. I am going to stop buying books for at least the entirety of the month of August. I do not, unfortunately, read books as fast as I would like because I tend to be a bit of a scatterbrain, and sometimes I have a tough time focusing. So I'm going to try to avoid buying books. The vast majority of the books I will be chatting with you about today are romance. If at any point I get through these books and I have had enough romance, say perhaps after reading 1 or 2 books, I may pick up something else. But let's start with this book here. It is Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren. Love in Other Words, what are you about? So the book description here tells us that after a decade apart, childhood sweethearts reconnect by chance in New York Times bestselling authors Christina Lauren's touching romantic novel, Love in Other Words. How many words will it take for them to figure out where it all went wrong? Oh my gosh. So this is told in alternating timelines then and now, where teenage Elliot and Macy grow from friends to much more, spending weekends and lazy summers together in a house outside San Fran, devouring books, sharing favorite words, and talking through their growing pains and triumphs. As adults, they have become strangers to one another until their chance reunion, although their memories are obscured by the agony of what happened that night many years ago. Elliot will come to understand the truth behind Macy's decade-long silence and will have to overcome the past and himself to revive her faith in the possibility of an all-consuming love. This sounds interesting. I think I picked this up based on a YouTube video. Now, I am currently in the very beginning stages of reading Happy Place by Emily Henry. So I picked up another book by Emily Henry. This is Book Lovers, a rom-com lover's dream of a book. This is what the cover looks like. One summer, 2 rivals, a plot twist they didn't see coming. For some reason, I thought I had read this already, but the other Emily Henry book I read is Beach Read. Oh my god. Scatterbrain. From having read just briefly a few pages off of Happy Place, I actually did not have a hard time getting into that book as much as I kind of did Beach Read. I felt kind of like at home reading that book, which is really nice. But what is Book Lovers about? Nora Stevens' life is books. She reads them all. She's read them all, and she's not that type of heroine. Not the plucky one, not the laid-back dream girl, and especially not the sweetheart. In fact, the only people Nora is a heroine for are her clients, for whom she lands enormous deals as a cutthroat literary agent and her beloved little sister Libby, which is why she agrees to go to Sunshine Falls, North Carolina, for the month of August. Oh my gosh, I could be reading this right now. When Libby begs her for a sister's trip away with visions of a small town transformation for Nora, who she's convinced needs to become the heroine of her own story, but instead of picnics in meadows or run-ins with a handsome country doctor, bulging four-armed bartender, Nora keeps bumping into Charlie Lostra, a bookish, brooding editor from back in the city. It would be a meet cute if not for the fact that they've met many times and it's never been cute. Oh no. If Nora knows she's not an ideal heroine, Charlie knows he's nobody's hero. But as they're thrown together again and again in a series of coincidences no editor worth their salt would allow, what they discover might just unravel the carefully crafted stories they've written about themselves. Okay. I also picked that book based on a YouTube book recommendation. Next book I picked up is Every Summer After by Carly Fortune. 6 summers to fall in love, 1 moment to fall apart, a weekend to get it right. Now these I feel like are all summer reads. Oh my gosh, what happened to this cover? I don't know. So they say you can never go home again, and for Persephone Fraser, I hope I'm saying that right, ever since she made the biggest mistake of her life a decade ago, that has felt too true. Instead of spending glittery summers in the lakeshore of her childhood, she stays home in a stylish apartment city, keeping everyone a safe distance from her heart. This is what the cover looks like. I feel like I did not share it and I just jumped straight into reading what this book is about. So until she receives the call that sends her racing back to Barry's Bay and into the orbit of Sam Florek, the man she never thought she'd have to live without. For 6 summers, through hazy afternoons in the water and warm summer nights, working in his family's restaurant, Percy and Sam had been inseparable. Eventually, that friendship turned into something before it fell spectacularly apart. When Percy returns to the lake for Sam's mother's funeral, her connection is as undeniable as it has always been. But until Percy can confront the decisions she made, they'll never know whether their love is bigger than the biggest mistakes of their past. Told over the course of 6 years and 1 weekend, Every Summer After is a gorgeously nostalgic book at love and the people and choices that mark us forever. Aww. This sounds like something I want to read tomorrow. So this is probably going to be a book that I will read soon. These are also... All of these books I have ordered or picked up due to booktube, YouTube book-related videos. This is by Abby Jimenez, and it is yours truly. I think that these are what version 1 and 2. I'm not sure if it's like a series or what, but I'm not sure which one comes first or second. I'm sure I will figure it out once I get to these. But for now, well, let's start with this one. Abby Jimenez, Part of Your World, about trading in the life you have for the life you want. So this is what the cover looks like. Now, I am sure that before I hit place my order, I read reviews and more information about each book, but here I am reading about it again and acting like I have never read it and never read about each book, but I feel like I have. So that shows you how well I remember things. But let's read about Part of Your World here. So after a wild bet, gourmet grilled cheese sandwich, and cuddle with a baby goat, Alexis Montgomery has had her world turned upside down. The cause, Daniel Grant, a ridiculously hot carpenter who's 10 years younger than her and as casual as they come. The complete opposite of sophisticated city girl Alexis, and yet their chemistry is undeniable. After her ultra-wealthy parents want her to carry on the family legacy of world-renowned surgeons, Alexis does not need glory or fame. She's fine with being a mere ER doctor. And every minute she spends with Daniel and the tight-knit town where he lives, she's discovering just what's really important. Yet letting the relationship become any more than a short-term fling would mean turning her back on her family and giving up the opportunity to help thousands of people. Bringing Daniel into her world is impossible, and yet she can't just give up on the joy she's found with him either. With so many differences between them, how can Alexis possibly choose between her world and his? Very interesting. So this is about a 300-page book. So now let's chat about Abby Jimenez, Yours Truly. I really like a brightly colored cover. This is a novel of terrible first impressions, hilarious second chances, and the joy in finding your perfect match from, okay, so yeah, this is book 2 from New York Times bestselling author, Part of Your World. So probably read this first and then this second. Dr. Brianna Ortiz's life is seriously flatlining. Her divorce is just about finalized. Her brother is running out of time to find a kidney donor. And that promotion she wants, oh, that's probably going to be the new man doctor who's already registering 8 friggin' 7 on Brianna's pain in my ass scale. But just when all systems are set to hate, Dr. Jacob Maddox completely flips the game by sending Brianna a letter. And it's a really good letter, like the kind that proves that Jacob isn't actually Satan. Worse, he might be this fantastically funny and subversively likable guy who's terrible at first impressions, because suddenly he and Bri are exchanging letters, sharing lunch dates in her sob closet, and discussing the merits of freakishly tiny horses. What? But when Jacob decides to give Brianna the best gift imaginable, a kidney for her brother, she wonders just how she can resist this quietly sexy new doctor, especially when he calls in a favor she can't refuse. Well, very interesting. Now, this is Minx by Sophie Lark. I will say that I picked this up based on a review by Larry Reads here on YouTube. I'm not sure well, I think I want to say I'm sure why I picked it up. She said that it was quite spicy, and I feel like the last book I read had like 0 spice, and I like spice in books, especially spice that isn't necessarily cheesy or forced. So we'll see what this is about, or what the spice level in this book is. Says Ramses Howell is a self-made man. He's proven he can get what he wants, and from the moment Blake Abbott catches his eye, she becomes his top priority. Blake wonders what took Ramses so long. She knew who he was years before. They strike a deal to play a very specific game. Ramses created the game for Blake. Blake adds rules that Ramses has no intention of following. As fantasy invades reality, the arrangement consumes them both. And Blake and Ramses cross lines they swore they never would, and each begins to question what they thought they always wanted. So this is Minx. I'm not sure when I would read this, since it doesn't really sound like much of a summer read. This might be perhaps a fall read for me. But I bought this solely based on a Larry Reads book video. I finally got my copy of Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. I saw this book everywhere on the YouTubes, so I decided to pick it up. Now, this is absolutely nothing like the books I have shared with you earlier in the earlier part of today's video. This is fantasy. Now, I personally love watching some fantasy TV, such as, Game of Thrones. It's one of my favorite TV shows, and according to some videos, this contains dragons as well. So very curious to see if I like reading about dragons as much as I like watching TV shows with dragons. So, a dragon without its rider is a tragedy. A rider without their dragon is dead. Now, I did not get a fancy copy with the black edges here, sadly. So mine is just kind of boring on the edges, but a really nice cover nonetheless. It is black inside, but you do have some maps here, which is great. Sounds like a very interesting, or looks like a very interesting world in there. So anyone else feel like changing their mind? Zayden shouts, scanning the remaining rows of cadets with the same shrewd gaze of the navy blue dragon behind him. No? Excellent. Roughly half of you will be dead by this time next summer. The formation is silent except for a few untimely sobs from my left. A third of you again the year after that, and the same your last year. No one cares who your mommy or daddy is here. Even King Tori's second son died during his threshing. So tell me again, do you feel invincible now that you've made it into the writer's quadrant? Untouchable, elite. Which reminds me of the show on Netflix, Elite, which I also love. No one cheers. Another blast of heat rushes, this time directly at my face, and every muscle in my body clenches, preparing for incineration. But it's not flames, just steam, and it blows back Rhiannon's braids as the dragons finish their simultaneous exhale, as Toby exhales as well. The breeches on the first year ahead of me darken, the color spreading down his legs. They want us scared. Mission accomplished. Because you're not untouchable or special to them, Zayden points towards the navy dragon and leans forward slightly, like he's letting us on in a secret. As we lock eyes, to them, you're just prey. Okay, so that didn't sound so bad. I feel like I always try to do book reading vlogs, but I literally just want to get down to reading that I don't want to set up any camera or lighting, but I will try my best to do that in the future, especially when reading such popular books such as this. And it being a genre that I have never really read before. That is all I have for my little birthday book haul. Let me know if you have read and enjoyed any of the books I chatted with you about today. I know that these are like mostly romance, so hopefully they aren't too cheesy. I will say that having read a couple of romance books already, I do enjoy reading romance books, but I don't enjoy romance movies. Isn't that weird? Let me know if you are like that as well. So I am going to log off. It's been a full day of filming for me today. If you are curious what is on my lips, I was playing with the Benefit tints. I have both Cha-Cha tint and Flora tint on the lips, topped with the Pharmacy lip smoothie and apple. Anyways, I hope you guys are having a lovely day, and that is all I've got. I will see you all in my next video. Bye! I see I told you we were in his bed. Oh,